testing has caused so much anxiety that test anxiety could be one of a million reasons why our students are not performing at the level that educators would like to see them at, to be able to basically make the benchmark scores in preparation for college. What's up, Rich? What's up on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day? That's all I can say. This beautiful day, and I welcome the divinity in you.
Man, appreciate that. Likewise, I would say some call him ZD Rich, some call him Zach, some call him Zachary or Mr. Richardson. But today, to me and to some others, he's the academic doctor.
Well, I love that introduction. Some folks just call me El Marte Bay.
Or El Marte Bay.
El Marte Bay, which came from Wilberforce University, and the Sue Marte is by one own toll, which represents hard work and determination. It is up to us to get out there and make things happen and not rely on others to make it happen for us. Yeah. And that's what my life is all about, being that vessel that's willing to work hard for the things that I want to do and then seeing them come to fruition.
Man, I just want, before we get into today's topic, I just want to shed light into something I was thinking about before we tapped in with each other. And that's to the viewers and to myself, to each and every one of us, be grateful for where we are in this journey and be patient with ourselves for where we're going. Because we enjoy, I begin to learn, I enjoy the journey more than the destination. Because when I'm there. It's like, oh, whatever, I'm here now. But that journey, the ups and downs, sometimes you don't like the downs, but it actually makes the ups feel uppy.
Yeah, it's a prerequisite, man. All the struggles that we have is a prerequisite to where we headed.
Yeah.
And I always ask God, like, why is these waters so difficult? Why, Lord? I'm somewhat confused. And I heard someone out there on some social media site, and the gentleman was explaining why the rough waters are the currents that we have to go through. And the message is because God knows my enemies can't swim. So if he's taking me through some difficult waters, it's for my own protection.
Yeah.
Once I get out of those waters, I can appreciate the journey. And he wanted to make sure that no one step in and bother his son. And so he made the water tough just for me because he know my enemies can't swim.
Man, when you said my enemies can't swim, it made me think of a thought I had earlier that I wanted to share as well, where God speaks to us three ways. This is something I recently learned. He speaks to us in three ways, and that's through parables, visions, and dreams. And one thing about it, the adversary can't hear. He can't understand that direct. That's what makes it so beautiful. It's a direct communication through vision, dreams, and parables, to where that is our love language. It's not love language, but that's our communication with God is so sweet, so beautiful, because once again, the adversary can't hear it. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't even know what God is speaking to us and what he's saying. And one thing the adversary can do is just drop some like suggestions, but it's all up to us if we receive that suggestion and roll with it. So that's just one thing I wanted to drop, that's so powerful to me that I'm starting to really understand, is that God once again speaks through parables, visions, and dreams. And if we could like start tapping into that more and asking God, like, send it to me in the dream. Okay. It's so cool too, because you could be washing dishes and then out of nowhere, you have a vision. Like, what's that one show? I don't know. I just had a thought about That's So Raven or something like, but off that. But that's how it works. You just standing somewhere and God drop it in your heart.
But the first thing, like you said, with the parables, the vision and the dreams, is that you have to be willing to have a vision. You have to be willing to dream, and you have to really understand parables. And I think that we have to learn how important our words are, because we can speak things into existence good, bad, and what we call indifferent.
Yeah.
But so for me, as I began to master the right works, as we talked about before, I'm not looking for a good job anymore. I'm just only interested in doing the right works. As you told the listeners and the viewers, that it's important to show gratitude. And I have to go back, as an educator, the spiral learning, that was our first show.
Yeah.
And then we begun to talk about like your life and live. So I recommend that you go back and listen to our show. That was number 2.
Yeah.
Number 3, we talked about these 3 dots, and you just dropped 3 dots on us. And so when we understand the beauty of our words, we are very selective in what we say, or we remain silent. And that's the key. I teach my students daily how sometimes it's best to be silent. And I say some corny stuff like, the word silent and the word listen use the same letters, but it also use the same ear and the same heart and the same brain. And then we can go really deep with it. But we have to be very mindful of the power our words possess and be careful what we say because God hears all things.
Yeah. And that last part, you kind of lost me on that. What you mean by like the word silent is listen
So
and
if you look at the letters in the
okay.
word silent, 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 listen, listen, they all use the same alphabets,
Gotcha.
but it also use the same ear. And in order to know that someone is being silent, it has to be free of noise. And
Yeah.
to know that you're listening, you can't be talking when I'm talking if you're listening. So to listen and to be silent, utilize the same letters and the same faculties. And that's what
Yeah.
the message is all about.
Heck yeah. I love that phrase. God gave you 2 ears to listen, one mouth to talk. So you need to listen more than you talk.
Absolutely.
No,
Absolutely.
it is beautiful, man. You get a lot of credibility when you listen more than you talk, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the topic? Let's get into this thing right now, brother. What is the topic?
Yeah, man. Hey, well, you hit me up. You sent me a text about something that you are more inclined in than I am, and that's so bro, what's the story about the drop in look, I can't
No,
even
no.
get it out right. Was
ACT.
ACT scores. I see that it's the lowest in 30 years. And well, I mean, talk to me like what's who's responsible? I should say, what let me backtrack. What is the possible reasons behind this decline in the ACT scores?
Well, we can't make any assumptions because we talked about 3 things that we don't do. We don't take shortcuts. We don't assume anything, and we don't concern ourselves with things that we cannot change. So, in assuming that the listeners know what an ACT is, we have to give them a little history.
That
And
part, because not cut
most
you off,
people,
bro.
yeah,
I was like, when we were going into this, I'm like, what if people don't even know what is the
yeah.
ACT, bro? Like, talk to me. Like, I'm
ACT
just like,
test is the American Collegiate Test. Pretty much, it's a test that people take when they're entering into college. It is showing benchmarks. It is
okay,
to show if a student is actually ready to take college courses and to be successful at doing so. So these gentlemen have had this test around for a very long period of time. And they partner with different colleges to make sure that when students matriculate from high school, they are actually prepared to sit in front of a professor and to do well. And
yeah.
that's what an ACT test is.
Okay.
And
So what's the difference between ACT and SAT? Because when I think about my high school days, I don't even know if I took them both. I feel like I only took the SAT.
the SAT
Is it like SAT easier or than the ACT? And like, yeah, just break that down for
the
me.
SAT and ACT has their differences, but they serve the same purpose.
Okay.
That purpose is to see if a student is actually prepared to go off to college.
Right.
The only major difference between the SAT, the SAT, and the ACT is that the SAT test does not offer a subsection specifically for science. and the ACT does.
Okay.
So the SAT has 4 parts. You have the English, you have the reading part, and then you have math with calculator, math with no calculator. That is your SAT. The ACT has 4 parts where you have English, math, reading, and science. And then you can take on both tests an optional writing to see where you are in regards to, are you really prepared for college?
So which one, like if I was a senior or junior right now in high school, which one should I take? Should I take a both? Will one give me more advantage than the other? Uh, do I need to take both?
Well, I would say take both to see which one you're better at.
Okay.
Most students will take a test called the PSAT, that's that pre-SAT, to see how they can become merit scholars, to see how they rank with everyone across the nation. And then they have an opportunity their junior, senior year to take the SAT, and the test range between 0 and 1,600 points. It has gone from 2,400 points at one point in the time frame that's been administered. Now it's back down to 1,600 points. The closer you get to 1,600 points, the better off you are. Each subsection, if you broke it down, the math versus English is 800 points for the math, and then 800 for the English reading. And then for the ACT, the highest is between 0 and 36. And
Gotcha.
so in recent times, we're seeing a lot of publications as early as this week where they were saying the ACT score is at an all-time 30-year low, and that the number came in to be around a 19 out of a possible 36. So what is interesting is the test is given to students who believe they're ready for college, number one. And number two, some states require students to take the ACT before they graduate to see if they are or they have met the high school requirements. And so they set a benchmark, and they would like to see their students at least surpass the benchmark or at least reach the benchmark. And so what they're saying now throughout the media is that our kids are not doing well academically. And it's a concern for a lot of people.
Where does that start though? Like where I mean, maybe you don't know. No, I'm just
Man, I ain't
kidding.
gonna
But
tell them listen, Rich, I ain't giving away my secrets. You gotta pay for this.
Well, where does that start? What does this whole 30-year interim of low scores start? Like, what's that
what
all
is
about?
we begin to think about reason, and as I sit back and I listen to the rhetoric, the talk about testing, there are so many factors that could be the reason, and it would probably take us more than a 30 minutes or a 2-hour show to talk about it. But one thing that I know for a fact, I'm speaking objectively, is that students must practice.
Okay.
It is nothing that you're going to sit down the night before, walk in there cold turkey, and get a 36.
That's
It,
what I probably did. And didn't get well, no, I actually luckily, passed
yeah,
mine.
yeah,
But
you did pretty good.
but
So, but in the end of the day, our students are now so distracted, and testing has caused so much anxiety that test anxiety could be one of a million reasons why our students are not performing at the level that educators would like to see them at, to be able to basically make the benchmark scores in preparation for college. Okay.
yeah, I'm just over here thinking about what's the desire? What can you help a student build the desire? Because when I was in high school, my only desire to take that test was because I know I needed to be a college athlete in college. So if I'm not a college athlete, what's my desire now? You know what I mean? If you like, because nowadays I feel like kids don't even want to go to college. It's expensive. They starting to get more of the understanding of this. And tuition is through the roof. And if I don't have a scholarship, why am I even going? Because I will encourage. Well, I don't want to get into that, so let's stay on topic. But
Well, I tell people the advantage of taking the test is to have somebody else pay for your education.
That's good.
See, for example, we use the wonderful state of Florida,
Okay.
um, and look at it from a standpoint that we have a thing called Bright Futures. When our students maintain a certain GPA, receive a certain ACT score, and volunteer a certain amount of hours, they can afford to either have their school pay for their tuition, that is, at 75%, or if they do really well and meet those requirements, their tuition can be paid at 100%. So that's an incentive enough to have someone else pay for your education. And all you have to do is to practice and prepare for a test, make good grades while you're in high school, maybe volunteer or use your work hours from having a job. That is an amazing trade-off, because it's a return on your investment. It goes back to that ROI. And so when our young folks who desire to go off to college, there's told my daughters, both of them, I'm not taking out a prepaid college fund, and I'm not paying for your school. I'm the academic doctor. If you cannot show me that you're college ready under my roof, then I won't make you think that you're going to do well when you're not under my roof. So I know a way for you to earn scholarships. I am that guy who's going to provide you with the proper training, and you're going to do exceedingly well and prove to me that you're really college ready. And then we're going to make somebody else pay for your education, but I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
And so they both showed me that they were ready for it, and they both earned Bright Futures money. And
Yeah. Let's
I did.
go.
Yeah, let's go. And I let them know that if you need help with other things, I will, within reason, if it's a need, I'm willing to help you.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be your enabler because I'm your abler. And for many years, I felt a little guilty because I was enabling my kids. And they told me, it's your fault why I'm doing this. You set me with this lifestyle. And I said, you're right. I set you up with a good lifestyle. Today, I resign. You ain't gonna throw no guilt trip
Man,
on
you
me.
dirty, man.
Yeah, I'm dirty. You are not gonna put that on me because I chose to do the right work in your life, and now you're gonna tell me it's my fault. So listen, young ladies. Yeah, I was wrong. Daddy was wrong. Now it's on you. So whatever decision that you render, you will never be able to come to me again and tell me how working hard and providing for you is my fault.
Ouch.
Go out there and get it. And
Ouch.
it's hard because I remember one day my baby came to me and she decided to buy a certain type of car, and it cost more for that insurance, and I didn't tell her to buy that car, and
Right.
she oh Daddy, I need to get this. I'm like, I'm sorry. Well, I know you got it. Mama used to do your books. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm I'm no longer doing that.
Man,
I got to step away from that because I'm impeding upon God's job. This is God's role. It's your role and God's role. You tell God what you want, you go out there and get it. Y'all work on this. It is not my responsibility to work on your dreams.
tough love, but needed. Man, we're gonna
And,
have to talk about that.
let's say this. I will not call it tough love.
Okay.
I will
What will
not.
you call it, sir?
I will say prepare my child for a tough world. My love is just not tough. My love is genuine. I'm concerned. I want the best for them. Oh, if I left here tomorrow, they straight financially. They'll get their
Awesome.
little every 5 year payout because I ain't giving it all to them. So I've already
Smart.
pre for my death, and they good. But I want to make sure they real good.
Yeah.
And that comes through their learning from their mistakes, like what a kid would do. They'll take an ACT, they don't do well. They can take it again and again and again and earn a super score. So I don't worry about what the media said. So when the media came down and said, oh, these poor kids scores at an all-time low. And I'm like, not my kids. My students are still ranking between 27s and 36s all day long. So even during the pandemic, which has become the focal point in education, they blame everything on COVID. The reason why this is happening, COVID, the reason why the kids, that's a bunch of lies. COVID is being blamed for every wrong deed in our country right now. That's because people choose to make excuses. What I know to be true is if you want to do something, All you have to do is sit down, as we put a video out before called practice. It's a physical act of doing something over and over again until you perfect it, and anybody can learn. And that's just the bottom line. And that's what I do for a living. I help kids to believe in themselves, and I teach them methods on how not only do well on tests, but how to do well in life.